Every single medical breakthrough we rely on today, it's all built on a foundation of rules. But what happens when those rules get broken? Well, that's what we're diving into. We're going to look at the moral compass of medical research, this whole ethical framework that was basically born from controversy, all to protect you and me.
Yeah, that's not a line from a horror movie. It's a real, devastating truth from our own modern history. And believe me, it shows you exactly why the rules we're about to talk about are just so important.
For 40 long years, from 1932 all the way to 1972, this absolutely horrific study was going on. You had hundreds of African American men with syphilis who were promised free medical care, but instead they were deliberately left untreated. Why? Just so researchers could watch the disease's brutal, unchecked progression. I mean, even when a cure, penicillin, became the standard, they actively kept it from them. And this wasn't some ancient event. This was a modern tragedy, and it was about to force a massive reckoning in the world of science.
So you can imagine, what happened at Tuskegee cast this long, dark shadow. It forced the entire scientific community to stop and ask a really fundamental question. How do we chase after knowledge and advance medicine without losing our own humanity along the way?
And this right here, this gets to the absolute heart of it. The whole point of having ethical rules isn't to slow science down, not at all. It's actually the opposite. It's about building a system that's so strong, so trustworthy, that we, the public, can have complete faith in it. And that trust, it's the fuel for any real progress. So naturally, there was massive public outcry, and that led to creating a real, formal protective framework. So the big question is, what does that framework actually look like?
And that brings us to the framework itself. It's really built on 4 core foundational principles. You can kind of think of them as the pillars holding up the entire building of ethical research today.
Okay, so these 4 pillars are respect for persons, beneficence, justice, and integrity. Seriously, pretty much every ethical medical study you see today is built on these 4 ideas. Let's break down what each one of them really means. All right, first up, respect for persons. This is basically the you are in control principle. It means every single person is an autonomous agent. You have the right to make your own decisions based on information that's clear and honest. And you can see how this directly confronts the single biggest violation in the Tuskegee study, where that right was just completely taken away.
Next, we've got beneficence. Now, this is kind of a 2-part promise. Part 1 is that classic medical oath. First, do no harm. But part 2 is just as critical. Researchers have to constantly weigh the risks and benefits. They have to make sure that the potential good that could come from the research is always greater than any potential risk to the people in the study.
Our third pillar is justice. You can think of this as the fairness principle. It's simple, really. One group in society shouldn't have to carry all the risks of research while another group gets all the rewards. It's a really powerful guardrail against taking advantage of vulnerable populations.
And this right here really makes it crystal clear what justice looks like in the real world. It's all about balance. The good stuff and the bad stuff. The benefits and the burdens of research, they have to be shared fairly. This stops a situation where, say, one vulnerable group is used for research just to benefit a more privileged one. The principle of justice is literally what keeps those scales from tipping into exploitation.
And last but not least, integrity. This one is, well, it's the bedrock of scientific truth. It's the simple promise to be honest, to be transparent. No making up data, no faking results. Without it, all the knowledge we think we're gaining is totally meaningless. Integrity is what guarantees the science is real. Okay, so we have these 4 really powerful principles. But how do they actually protect you in the real world? Like, if you are ever thinking about joining a research study, what does this all mean for you?
Well, the most important tool is something called informed consent. And listen, this is way more than just signing a piece of paper. It's a whole process, really. It has 3 key parts. First, disclosure. That means they have to tell you everything, the purpose, the risks, the benefits, all of it. Second, comprehension. They have to explain it in a way you can actually truly understand. And third, voluntariness. Your decision to join has to be 100% your own, totally free from pressure. It's basically your Bill of Rights as a participant.
So that all sounds great, right? A really solid system. But who's the referee? Who's actually making sure these rules get followed? Who holds everybody accountable? That's where the Institutional Review Board, or IRB, comes in. Think of them as the guardian council. So who are these people? Well, it's a diverse group. Scientists, ethicists, even people from the local community. And what do? They review every single research proposal involving people before it can even start. Why does that matter? Because they are the independent oversight. They're the ones whose entire job is to protect your rights and your welfare. No IRB approval, no study. Period. Now, it's easy to think of these principles as just a reaction to things that went wrong in the past. But honestly, they are more relevant today than they have ever been, especially as we start facing these new, incredibly complex scientific frontiers.
I mean, just take genetic research. This field raises a whole new universe of questions, right? How do we protect the privacy of your DNA, which is about as personal as it gets? How do we stop that information from being used to discriminate against you? And where do we even begin to draw the ethical lines on technologies like CRISPR, which can literally alter the human genome?
Just think about that for a second. When you put it like that, this whole abstract idea of data privacy suddenly feels incredibly personal, doesn't it? It perfectly captures this huge ongoing debate we're having about what respect for persons even means in the digital age.
So as we start to wrap this up, it's pretty clear that everything we've talked about, the painful history, those 4 pillars, the review boards, it all really boils down to one single essential idea: trust.
If there's one thing to take away from all this, it's this. The entire ethical framework is, at its heart, a promise. It's a promise that our search for knowledge will never come at the cost of human dignity. It's a promise that scientific progress and protecting people will always, always go hand in hand.
In the end, it all comes down to just one single guiding idea.
And that's the commitment to advance knowledge responsibly and respectfully. That's it. That one commitment is the root of all public trust. It's what makes it possible for those incredible, life-saving breakthroughs to happen in a way that's ethical and right.
Which, of course, leaves us with one final and really important question. Science is moving faster than ever before. I mean, it's accelerating like crazy. So the ongoing challenge for all of us is to make sure that our moral compass, that our ethics, can keep pace.